Hey, good morning, Internet fans. It's Ryan Perry with Simple Biz Support. It's Wednesday morning, therefore it is Social Media Wednesday. As usual, I have Sarah Giametti with ICT Marketing on the other side, and we've got something pretty exciting to talk about that I don't think many people are familiar with. But first of all, good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. Normally, I would tell you about how great the Dodgers were doing, but that was not the case last night, so we're just going to move on.
Agreed.
And what we're moving on to is an extension of what we were talking about last week, and that had to do with I don't have my notes in front of me, and I totally forgot what the heck we're talking about. What are we talking about, Sarah?
Facebook custom audiences, a little bit more advanced version of it.
There we go. Here we go. There's my notes. Sorry about that. Yeah, I thought I knew what we were talking about. For those of you that saw the broadcast last week, we talked about the custom audience, but we really focused on just kind of what it is, how to use it in a simplistic way, and especially if you are service-based, how you might use that. This week, we wanted to save the time and actually go into business owners that actually have a product, because it's pretty cool by embedding what they call a pixel into your website. You can actually track a lot of different information, and that will tell your ad on Facebook what to do. So like last week we talked about the fact that you could import a database of people you knew and you could just target them randomly. This is really cool, and I'm going to let Sarah explain it in more detail. The what we talked about last week about uploading a database, yes, they're your customers, but it's still kind of a shotgun approach. What if you could actually narrow it down to the actual items they were looking for on your shop? And that's why we're going to talk about a product-based business today. And what if you could actually track that, and then when they're in Facebook, your ad would pop up showing what they were actually looking at. So Sarah, why don't you go into a little bit more details? I know there's some qualifications that you have to actually be logged into Facebook while you're shopping, and so why don't you give us a broad overview?
Right. So you do have to be logged in your Facebook account in order for this to work, or the customer needs to be logged into their Facebook account. You don't need to. And what you do is, when you create a custom audience, you get a pixel, which is a little bit of code that you put on your website. And they recommend you put it in the header of your website. So it's on every single page of your website. And then you go back into Facebook and you create ads that target that audience. So you're targeting the people that have visited your website. And if that person is logged into Facebook at the time that they visited your website and looked at products, it activates that pixel and then delivers the ads to them the next time they log into Facebook. And you can choose to have them live in this custom audience anywhere from 30 to 180 days. So if you've ever gone shopping and you've looked at a pair of shoes, piece of jewelry, and the next time you're on Facebook, it's suddenly all over your news feed, that's exactly what they've been using. And the amount of time that that ad is displayed to you is chosen in the ad platform by the advertiser. And so what you do, once you have the pixel on there, you go create different ads, and you can choose, you've got a variety of options in here. You can choose to track website conversions. So if somebody bought something, then you deliver ads to them because they're more likely to buy again. You can also just track them on any web page or on certain web pages. So if you've got a special going on a particular product, you can choose to track just people who travel to that website or that particular page on your website and deliver the ads to them the next time they're on Facebook. So it's a really, really powerful way to retarget your audience that is already, the traffic that's already coming to your website. You retarget them on another platform on Facebook.
Right, and so now we're taking, from a marketing point of view, we're taking a shotgun approach, and we're really starting to narrow it down, because anytime you talk about marketing, as a business owner, I want to talk about everything, but as a consumer, I only want to talk about what I'm interested in. So we always talk about having a very narrow focus of what it is that you're talking about. So by having this pixel, which is a piece of code on your website, and then let's say I'm a consumer and I log into your website and you're selling shoes and I look at a boot, and because I was logged into Facebook and you had this code that's linked to Facebook to their advertising, when I go back into Facebook, there's a high probability that I'm going to see an ad from you for that boot. So that's very, very targeted, very, very cool. But maybe you only want to target women looking for men's product because it could be, especially with the holidays coming up, those type of things, and the way you advertise to women, the pictures you use, the words, the message is going to be uniquely different than if you're going to target men as an example. So my understanding is with this ad platform, not only can we say, hey, you looked at this product, but I only want to show the ad to women because we have this huge list within Facebook advertising of criteria that we can create. So can you go into that a little bit more?
Correct. So you still would create the ads the same way you create any other Facebook ad. You're just utilizing the traffic that's coming from your website. And so you're right. You can choose to only target women or men. You can determine the geographic location if that matters, their age, any other of the qualifiers that we've gone over in past broadcasts that teach you how to create Facebook ads. So those work the same, and you can do A/B testing. So you could show an ad that only to women who have looked at those products. You can do a second ad that's only men who have looked at that product, and see which one converts better. Because then that tells you where to focus your effort, and you can even further narrow down the targeting. That if you're selling men's products and the ad that you're targeting to women performs 10 times, 50 times better than men, you just stop the men's one. Why spend your money on that if it's barely converting, and just focus all your time and energy on to the women, especially with the holidays coming up. You really want to be creative and think outside the box in order to up your online sales. You're mute.
Sorry, Sorry about that. I have a lot of street noise, so a lot of times in order for the picture not to flip back and forth, I mute my microphone. So we can do very targeted ads, which is very cool. Now let me ask you, advertising on Facebook, very simple. You just need to have a business account. You have to have your personal, then you have to have a business. What about this code? Do we need, do I have to hire a programmer to install this code? Is it just copy and paste?
It is copy and paste, but you do need to be familiar with your code. You need to know how to put it into the proper section of your website. So it depends on how comfortable you are with that. Obviously, I'm not a web developer, but I'm very comfortable in web code. So I am able to place it on a website with no problem. However, my sister, who owns a bar, I would never hand it to her and say, hey, put it on your website. Obviously, I take care of her website for her, but that's not her level of expertise. So I've got a bunch of clients where I would never hand it to them. So it really depends on how comfortable you are playing in the code of your website. I would highly recommend, if you barely do anything, you never touch it, you don't know how to read code at all or barely, I would highly recommend having your web person put it in. It'll take them less than 5 minutes to add the code. So it's a really easy thing for them to do, but that way you guarantee you're not messing up your website in any way.
All right. Okay, perfect. And then the other part is going to be the cost, because this is in Facebook you have different types of ads that you can run. Is this more expensive, less expensive? Is it, per click, per view? What's some of the details there?
I was muted. It works the exact same way, and so it's the same cost. The cost is determined by who you're targeting, and so they do recommend you do the CPM, so cost per thousand, not per click, because that way you have a better chance of conversion. And then once the custom audience builds up to a big enough number, you switch over to optimized cost per million, cost per thousand. But the cost per ad it runs the same as any of the others. It really depends on who you're trying to target. So if your audience ends up being a really highly targeted audience, it does tend to be more expensive. If you're going after somebody who almost nobody goes after, then you're going to spend a lot less money. So, but it's not more money just because you're using this pixel in this other format. That doesn't make it more expensive. It's really who you're still trying to target in the end.
Okay, so it just boils down to a supply and demand type of situation, because I don't know if a lot of people don't realize it, but when you're on Facebook, or even if you're in Google and you're looking at pay-per-click advertising or any of the other types, the screen that you're looking at, that's real estate. So you have limited real estate in order to place these ads, and obviously companies like Google, like Facebook, and even Twitter now, they want to maximize that real estate and get as much money out of it as possible. So ads that are performing well, especially on Google, they always will promote ads that perform well. But ultimately, if you've got 20 people that want to fit into a space that only 3 can fit in, as supply and demand.
Absolutely, and I see it all the time when we do A/B testing. I'll have one ad that'll blow the other one out of the water. It just doesn't convert, so it stops. So that Facebook stops feeding it as often because it's not doing as well. And that's the biggest reason why you do A/B testing, and you run multiple ads and you narrow down and tweak to find out what works and what doesn't. And the ads do tend to change every time you kind of refresh your screen because there are so many people trying to advertise. Facebook, they're walking this fine line of it is real estate. They want to make money and serve as much as they can, but also not serve too much to irritate the end user, because then they're going to lose their readership, and then all of it just falls apart. So they can only put so many within the body of the news feed, and then they're the ones on the right side ads. And then the third option is when people are on mobile, feeds differently than the other two. So they really have to be careful, and it's still a competition, but it's still the cheapest around. Facebook is still cheaper than Google. It's cheaper than any traditional advertising you can do. You can't beat it for the cost per 1,000 people that you reach.
Right, and the fact that you can really target and segment your audience, which is is the part that I think is really cool. And and I like the fact, I'm always a big fan of A/B testing, but how cool would it be to A/B test people with an iPhone versus people without an iPhone? Depending on what your product is, but the reality is that people that buy an iPhone typically have a tendency of thinking in a different way than somebody who buys a Droid, as an example. Just like somebody who's part of the NRA is going to think differently than somebody who supports the National Animal Rights Foundation. And therefore, again, it always goes back to your message. That message is going to be uniquely different for this group versus this group, and being able to optimize and test and retest to maximize the return on investment is really important. And I just said return on investment. There's that ROI that a lot of businesses are looking for. With advertising, people into a funnel, you put X number of dollars in the top, now you can actually quantify how much money is coming out of the bottom. It's a very, very powerful tool for a lot of business owners.
It is. It's really powerful, and for, as I said, not a lot of money. You can really see what your money is doing, because the other types of advertising on Facebook aren't quite as ROI generating, but by building an audience, you still see you're building a community. You can still quantify the community and the engagement, but this takes it another level where you can quantify them, not only the engagement you're getting on Facebook, but you're now connecting them to the traffic on your website, and you can see that it's really working for you. And if it's not quite working, then it just tells you need to tweak it, not quit it. Because it does take time. It takes time and effort, just like any other part of business. It takes time and effort to get it right and to get it to work properly for you. You need to have the right amount of audience, the right size of audience, the right message, and tracking the right stuff on your website. And so if it's not working quite as well as you want to, that's a sign of you need to tweak it and give it more time. not go, oh well, it doesn't work and I'm going to quit after 30 days,
Right.
because you need to give it takes time.
Right. Yeah, just like anything, you start off with a good plan, and then you have to work that plan and work that plan until you fine tune it into a well-oiled machine. On that note, though, it is 10 o'clock, so we need to wrap this up. For people that are interested, can they just go to facebook.com/ads, or do you know what the URL is?
Yeah, facebook.com/ads takes you to your ad platform, and then on the left-hand side you can go to custom audiences, and that'll walk you through creating that pixel code for your website, and then creating the ads from there.
Okay, perfect. And if they're trying to find you on Facebook, ICT Marketing You, how would they do that?
They would go to facebook.com/ICT marketing. I believe. I never seem to remember my own page.
It's like remembering a new phone number. I don't know my phone number because I.
Well, our website has a hyphen in it. I think our Twitter has a underscore in it. So Facebook does not. So it is just ICT marketing, all one word. And so they can find me there, find me on the website.
If you're looking for me, mine's a little complicated also because it's SIMP, S-I-M-P, biz support. I wasn't able to do the whole simple, so I went SIMP, biz support. So totally understand. Sarah, as always, I appreciate your time. That's going to wrap it up for today, and I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, Ryan. You too.
All right. Take care. Bye.